Coming up, Lafayette, a manual for how to win friends and influence people. And courage, can it be hereditary? Castles and volcanoes, how they can launch a life. This is Living Lafayette. For the Lafayette Alliance in LaGrange, Georgia, I'm Richard Ingram. How is it that some people are so good at life? Why do they turn out the way they do? They get slammed, they get up. They put a harness on daily insults. They seem to say it's just part of the deal. How do you get judged and keep your eye on the ball? Just let it pass. The New York Times recently interviewed a group of young folks, and they were asked what bothers them most day in, day out. And they said the whole idea of making a mistake and then being judged for it. How do you get over that? How do some people just seem to tolerate it? We live in a time that values good looks, dimples, high cheekbones, think Brad Pitt. Pays highly for contortions on court, think Michael Jordan. But I have in mind people less outwardly gifted. For example, Abraham Lincoln. Tall, lanky, by all accounts, ugly, but perseverance by the boatload. Where'd that come from? Or Frederick Douglass. Couldn't read, couldn't write, taught himself. Picked up thrown away newspapers and taught himself to read and write. Resilience. It's breathtaking. It's just like coming over the horizon and seeing the Grand Tetons for the first time. So, where is the capsule for courage? Where's the pill for perseverance? There's glipizide for diabetes, hydrochlorothiazide for blood pressure. But some days you need to speak truth to power. You need a dose of courage. Something that stokes backbone, something that steadies the hand. And I don't mean a beta blocker. I am told, although I haven't verified the story, that Barbara Streisand has panic attacks so severe that before she ever sets foot on stage, she has to take a beta blocker. She and I are not on first name basis, so I haven't verified it. I'm also given to understand that people that participate in pistol shooting tournaments, that every time their heart beats, they have a little tremor. It messes up their aim. They take a beta blocker to give them more time. There's a pill for everything. You see it advertised all the time. There's a pill to make cancer stall out, but no capsule for courage, no pill for perseverance. And even if that pill were available, would the FDA approve it? And what would the side effects be that you'd have to read off at the end of the ad? What would it cost? Lafayette had all those things: courage, perseverance, resilience. Where did he get them? Aristotle said you can't judge a life till it's over. You must be able to see the whole of it. Your hemoglobin A1C isn't determined by one glucose on one day. It's the day in, day out glucose that counts. It's the arc of the average. But the hemoglobin A1C, it does give you one number to assess how well you've done. What's the blood test that lets you judge life lived well? You judge how well you measure up health-wise by your body mass index. Your weight divided by your height in meters squared. Your average blood pressure less than 130/80. Your triglycerides less than 150. Hit these targets and you measure up, as far as we know, to healthy. The parts of a life lived well can be parsed similarly. Courage, gratitude, perseverance, resilience. Benjamin Franklin did it in his autobiography. 13 virtues. He listed them on the ordinate, that would be the y-axis, and then the dates on the x-axis, that would be the abscissa, And then he graded himself. Well, you can do the same. And you put it on a scale of 1 to 10, and each day you give yourself a grade, and then you can see how well you fare on the scale of life lived well. But you need benchmarks, someone with whom to compare. In the novel Tragic Muse, Henry James writes of one of his characters, life for him was a purely practical function, not a question of phrasing. Well, our benchmark must be more than merely practical. Spirit must be in it. John Quincy Adams suggested a prototype for us, someone against whom we can compare ourselves. John Quincy Adams, mind you, 6th President of the United States, eldest son of John Adams, 2nd President of the United States. John Quincy's opinion counts. He was an experienced observer. Ambassador to Britain, Russia, Prussia, the Netherlands, Secretary of State, served in the House and the Senate, been there, done that. He knew human nature at its best and its worst. And he won that bruising campaign of 1824 for the presidency, pitted against William Crawford of Georgia, Henry Clay of Kentucky, and Andrew Jackson of Tennessee. And he was unafraid to break with fashion. Short hair, no wig, long pants instead of breeches, which was the fashion at the time. Spoke 8 languages, count them, fluently. Member of the American Philosophical Society, IQ of 165. Well, it's an estimate, he didn't take the test. Phi Beta Kappa Harvard. John Quincy Adams has credentials. When General Lafayette died, here's what this very bright man said about him. Pronounce him one of the first men of his age, and you have yet not done him justice. Turn back your eyes upon the records of time, summoned from the creation of the world to this day, the mighty dead of every age and every clime, and where among the race of merely mortal men shall one be found, who, as the benefactor of his kind, shall claim to take precedence of Lafayette. True, John Quincy Adams was a politician. Fine. Turn then to philosopher John Stuart Mill. Learned Greek at the age of 3. Read Plato when he was 6. What were you doing when you were 3 or 6? What were you reading? He was godfather to Bertrand Russell. He, too, was a member of the American Philosophical Society. And here's what this man, very much of the mind and not of politics, said of Lafayette. That is not to say that the mind and politics are mutually exclusive. Here's what John Stuart Mill said of Lafayette. The living representative of whatever was best and purest in the spirit and truest in the traditions of his age. He was not the influence of genius, not even of talents. It was the influence of a heroic character. It was the influence of one who, in every situation and throughout a long life, had done and suffered everything which opportunity had presented itself of doing and suffering for the right. Such an example in so conspicuous a station is ever most valuable and seldom more needful than now. Honor be to his name, while the records of human worth shall be preserved among us. It will be long ere we see his equal, long ere there shall arise such a union of character and circumstances as shall enable any other human being to live such a